everybody. My name's Craig.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Burke.
And this is Get Dunked On, the podcast.
It
is kind of like the Game of Thrones. Like, who's going to be sitting in the chairs this next week?
Yeah.
We've got a bunch of just twisting things around here where we're never the same group ever the last couple weeks. So this one's going to be a little bit of a side quest here for us. This is going to be part of our And One series here. This will be our inaugural And One series that's released. But before that, Burke, this is the first time you've been back on here without it being a quiz. So how's everything going, man?
So I was talking to my wife this morning and I looked outside and I go, this is so surreal. There's snow on the ground. And, Texas boy here going, seeing snow? Yeah, no. We were lucky if it stuck to a trampoline, if it ever snowed at all. So yeah, it's been fun. The whole move was crazy. I don't know, ever since it's mid-December, it's been one weekend after another, the whole week versus packing and then coming back on the first day of the year, starting a brand new role. Woo! But I think we're finally
other
getting
than that, it was
in.
pretty chill.
Yeah, it's been good. There's been I met my neighbors the first day. Like, I literally pulled up and met my neighbor. I'm like, this is weird. So, but anyways, it was nice. Good to actually meet some people. Haven't met too many people outside of work yet. Just haven't had a chance. But the whole process went pretty smooth. We hired a moving company and no problems whatsoever.
Did it cost you $10,000 plus to move?
No, I actually didn't see the final bill because I probably didn't want to, but their estimate was right at 5.
Okay, because Craig made apparently an error on the quiz last week or a couple weeks ago.
I said average. I didn't say that's what Burke's was going to be. I said
just
the average
saying
move.
That
the
according to
move.
Burke, I would have got the point.
Well, and another thing,
you still won the quiz, didn't you?
Yes, but I like to stop my enemies.
What the vitriol
Okay.
is.
Oh man, can't let it go. But so anyways, it cost me $5,000, but you got to think about that. I don't have kids. Most people do. And I'm also pretty cheap. So I don't, I buy stuff, but it's not like big, heavy stuff. So I guess that's why it was cheaper. Like, they moved my motorcycle and that cost me, I think they said $300 to $400 to move my motorcycle.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And so it was one of those things that I was like, whatever, I'll pay for it. I say nothing got broken. Let's go, nothing of value got broken. We lost a plastic measuring cup that we didn't really care about. What do you know? I think a soap bottle got turned over and leaked on the bottom of a box.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Probably in an area where there's other things that are like-minded and it didn't really matter that much that it got too soapy.
I mean, like, literally, I think I discovered a part of a spatula, the corner broke off, and I'm like, I'll go buy a new one. Like, so overall,
that's really not that bad. I remember my parents had a lot of problems. They ran one of their good TVs, one of their flat screens. This is way back when they first moved down to Tennessee, like 2008 or whatever.
When I helped them,
or in 2008. I'm sorry, 2011. No, 2011, and they rammed a TV into a corner of the house, like,
oh wow,
a banister type thing, and just completely smoked it.
Yeah, I built I have a few woodworking tools, so I built like boxes for my TVs. I can post a picture of it if we want on our website, and it is like the TV, the blanket that was supporting it, like barely, or protecting it, barely fit up the sides. So it was like this perfect box. So
nice.
So yeah.
Nice.
Of course you built something. Because now Burke's a man.
Hey, I was proud of that. I paid $10.40 in wood to protect a few $1,000s worth of TV. So yeah, totally worth it. So anyways, what I actually wanted to talk about was my experience finding a house in Denver. So
okay,
I say my experience finding a house. It was the first house we looked at. We loved it. Okay, let's put so that was easy. right? No problem. That was amazing. So Sunday we didn't do anything. We just kind of drove around the area, tried to figure it out. Monday we had like a 2:00 flight or 3:00 flight. I don't remember. So we got to the airport early, and luckily I had club access. So I sitting in a club and spending most of the day there because guess what? My flight got delayed 2 hours. All right, I was like, okay. And let me back up. I usually fly United, and I hate United now that it's United, not Continental. That's a whole nother story. I think we might have touched that on the travel thing months back. I decided to fly a budget airline just to save about $300-400 on plane tickets.
Oh God, which airline?
Frontier. So, I don't know if Frontier flies to many places, but their hub is in Denver. So, needless to say, it saved me actually probably like $300. So, we get to the airport, check in, no problem. I go use my United Club lounge, sit in the club. We're having fun. Flight's delayed 2 hours. Shit. All right, we'll stay up here a little bit longer. So, about 5:30 is when the boarding time was supposed to be. So we leave at like 5:15. We get to the gate, no one's boarding. They delay it 30 minutes. It gets to 6:00, delay it 30 minutes. It gets to 6:35, delay it till 7:15. Like it just 30 minutes. So needless to say,
God.
By 8:30, 9:00 at night, we're like, I don't think we're getting out. And mind you, there's no weather. It's blue skies. The snowstorm that caused the original thing was 3 days ago. Like, as soon as we landed, a storm hit, and not many people got in and out for the next, 12 hours. And then the rest of the airlines caught up, except for Frontier. Why?
Did they have like some sort of like reasoning as to why they were so far behind? Like, were they at least like updating you as it went?
No. So basically, their computer systems blew up during the snowstorm, and they didn't have pilots when they had planes, and they didn't have planes when they had pilots. So it was like this perfect storm of traveler hell the week before Christmas. So I know this is a couple months ago, or about a month ago now.
Lovely.
Not to mention my birthday. So I'm stuck at the airport for 9 hours going, this is great. So finally, they cancel the flight at 9:00. They go stand in line at our courtesy booth. I find where this place is and follow the line of people. And I wish I could exaggerate on this number. It was 200 to 300 people in front of me in line. I'm not exaggerating on that number. The terminal, because we didn't go to the gate until we had to. Literally the Frontier side of the terminal, there were people just lined on walls with bags sleeping. They were lined on the people mover walkway things. It was a disaster. So while I start to stand in line, I go, Emily, go see if we can find a flight on something else. So she finds a flight at Southwest, which flies out that night. And I was like, oh, let's do it. Dropped $800. So right there goes my ticket savings that I made on the first flight. So yeah, so we flew out that night, and of course that's on the opposite side of town because there's 2 airports in Houston. So then we had an hour car ride at 2 a.m. to get to our house, and by car ride I mean Uber ride. So while listening to gospel music the whole way home.
I remember you tweeting throughout the whole thing, and then half the time, I was trying to piece together the entire story from you tweeting and from you rage texting me over the whole thing.
Yeah, I was not happy. I think I made a Kevin Smith joke that night because I was like, who knew Southwest would be able to help me?
It's an easy one to go to on that.
Exactly. So yeah, that was my birthday, and I can't say first experience with the Denver airport, but first and last experience with Frontier Airlines. Just so you know, they didn't start recovering. The first flight that went out from Houston was Thursday, which I was flying out on Monday. That was the first flight to go out since Saturday.
Wow.
I mean, Burke, I know you were gone from the podcast for a while, so I want to stop you right there and welcome our sponsor that we picked up, Frontier Airlines. We'll get you there eventually.
Yeah.
We'll get you there. The way back, not so much.
So needless to say, if I had stayed and waited, I probably wouldn't have gotten home until Christmas Day, or either
Wow,
Saturday
man.
or Sunday. And plus that, I had a flight to North Carolina the day after I got back to Houston. So I was like, nope. But that's Frontier Airlines. My raving review, a whole negative 5 stars.
I know Brian usually loves those budget airlines.
You and I could have a Frontier Airline versus Spirit Air talk if you wanted,
yeah.
but let's not do
Let's
that.
talk about something a little bit more fantasy and exciting.
And fun.
Something fun?
Something very fun.
Very fun. Called
So
D&D.
what we figured...
Oh, wait.
Well,
It's D&D.
what we figured to be able to do today is, since this is episode 1 of the ones that you guys are hearing, is we've got a little side series we're going to be doing on just random times where we're just going to bring up a subject and we're kind of just going to rant about it or love on it or hate on it or talk about just one little subject and just kind of go off on it. And this is a subject that the three of us know very well. It's a series called The Critical Failures is the book series, the main saga, but the whole world, and you'll understand what I mean by the whole world, is called The Caverns and Creatures, which is a play off of obviously Dungeons and Dragons. And it's a book series by Robert Bevan. And so we just wanted to bring it to you guys' attention. He's an independent author. Mm-hmm. He doesn't really last time I knew, he hasn't partnered with anybody too big. He sells his stuff on like Kindle version on Amazon. I don't think they have paperbacks, and they have audiobooks on Audible. So he's mainly kind of like an Amazon partnered person, I guess, if you want to say partnered, but he sells his stuff on there. But it's a really great series. And we just kind of wanted to gush on it a little bit here.
Now that you've introduced it, can we give a proper spoiler warning before we get into it?
Yes, we can give a proper spoiler warning. Brian, go ahead and give the proper spoiler warning.
Attention, any and all listeners who are loyal fans of this podcast. If you have not, and I repeat, if you have not read this series up until, Craig, help me out.
Oh, the latest in the series out of the 2 different, we'll call it quote
2
series.
Yeah.
Would be the Critical Failures 3, which is the subtitle, A Storm of S Words. And in 3D6 is the latest one that we've gone through on the D6 series. So
right. If you have not gone up to that point, turn this podcast off now. Do yourself a favor and download it either through Audible or whatever you got to do to read this book or this series, because it is incredible, and you would be doing yourself a huge disservice to listen to us talk about it, because you're going to hear things out of context, and we're talking about jokes and things like that. Just please do that. This is your one and only spoiler warning, but seriously, guys, this is
if you're
huge.
a fan of comedy, and if you're a fan or know stuff about gaming, especially tabletop gaming, it still works for those of you that don't do much tabletop gaming or really any. Yeah, I think Burke, you played 1 session sort of,
and
did you play it? No, you played it after.
I played it after because I saw that because I think we were talking about sorry, we're probably getting too much into the actual podcast. So go get the books. Anyways, so.
Okay, spoiler over. Here's the real thing to start.
I was wanting to just tell them it's a series Burke didn't go into beforehand. He hadn't played D&D beforehand, and he went through the books and loved it so much he picked up
D&D.
A D&D. He started as hey, can you run some stuff with me? And so we started kind of running some things, and we're building characters and stuff and kind of understanding more of the game since he went through the book. But if you know a Skyrim or Oblivion, it's that type of fantasy, a Tolkien fantasy type thing, but it's really funny, and there's a bit of crude humor. So
there's some language.
Just know there's gonna be harsh language in there, and it's crude humor
and
at times.
A few dick jokes,
a couple fart jokes. That's what you're getting yourself into. But it is an absolutely hilarious series, absolutely hilarious, and a great series. And it's very well written. So we highly suggest. I think it's 99 cents per book on the Kindle edition or something like that. So you can get it really cheap.
Cannot afford not to buy, people.
So we really suggest that you do that. Now, if you have gotten to this point and you haven't listened to them, this is where you turn it off, because from here on out, spoilers could be anywhere.
Okay.
BREES. Yeah, I can.
Drew Brees.
I'm honestly thinking about picking up like a jersey, like the shirt jersey of Drew Brees purely because of that. Like,
Yes.
Oh my
I'm
God.
gonna
Yes.
look up on Amazon. You guys keep going. I'm looking up on Amazon and seeing how much these
Buy
things
me
are.
one too if you find it.
Okay. So
We all need to meet somewhere and wear one.
oh my God, they're like, oh, you guys are Saints fans, huh? No.
Like, actually, I really don't like the Saints.
No, we're just at
It's like-
Olive Garden. We're going to Dick's later.
So what, it's like, are you guys a fan of Olive Garden? It's like, well, actually, we're just more fan of half orcs. Huh? So okay. First off, who was the first person to read it or listen to it or what have you out of this group was Bert,
Bert was
right?
the first one to start it. Yes.
Yeah. And I
Okay,
went, oh my
so
God.
Greg. Since you were the originator, I want to hear how you found it.
So I love fantasy books, and with my Audible account, that's pretty much what I've been reading. Like ever since someone introduced me to the Wheel of Time series, like I've been on this fantasy book kick. So I've been Audible. Let's go this series, and then finally I ran out of like authors that I know. I'm like, well, I don't know what to look for. I don't even know. So I just started clicking around in Audible, and I don't think it was a CNC. I don't think it was a CNC. I don't think it was a recommended book, but I was looking up fantasies, and because I liked this book, you may like this book kind of a thing. And I was like, I read the description. I'm like, could be pretty good, and downloaded it, listened to it, and I think I got a chapter and a half in, and I bought the second and third one. Because I had some built up credits. I'm like, yep, this is happening. So like I didn't even finish like 100 pages in the book. I had the whole series, and I was like, yep, this is going to be amazing. I was telling Craig about it. I was like, because coming from my background where D&D was never played, had a few questions on it, but I understood the concept because of like never.
Yeah, they do a good job with that.
And the D&D based video game. So, but man, it was just the crudeness. It shocked me at first because I'm usually coming from kind of like kids' fantasy books where, they don't say anything but crap. And so to
yeah, that's like like the
what are you, a fucking moron?
Oh my God.
Shit like that the whole time. And I was like,
Fuck you, Dave.
God, I wish I could do that voice. That's impressive. But yeah, so that's how
Thank you.
I found the series through Audible. Told Craig about it. He got him.
Yeah, he told me, and I was like, okay, I'll see what this whole thing's about. And I wasn't thinking it was going to be, because I've tried to go through, I think, one of your fantasy books, Burke, and I was like, this really isn't for me. And it was hard for me to, and I do Audible as well. I do audiobooks very much. So it's easier because I can go through it while I'm working. And I was like, I'll check this out, and thinking, this probably isn't going to turn out great. So I picked up the first one and just started it. And it kind of shocked me too, where initially they're going through and they're like, oh, fuck you. And I was like, whoa, was not expecting this. I was not expecting any of this. And as both of you know, like the opening scene, or the opening, I guess I'll just call it the entirety of the opening scene there of them in the chicken hut, as all humans and playing CNC, kind of throws you off a little bit for what the rest of the series is, especially with the voice. The voice acting
Oh my God.
So
It
good.
really
Like
is.
the voice acting is just so good. It's done by Jonathan Sleep, and he plays it so well because the series goes into it where they're all playing CNC. It's a group of friends, and they have a cavern master or like a dungeon master come over, game master or GM come over and host a game for them. It ends up with magic die, and they end up being kind of dicks to them. And the cavern master sends them into the game world as their characters. And at that point, you've got, if tabletop gaming, you've usually got a kind of a cast of characters. You've got different races, you've got different classes, you got totally different people, a half orc barbarian, you've got a halfling rogue, and all this like different things. And so at the beginning, when you first listen to it, you're like, oh man, all these guys' voices kind of sound the same.
Yeah.
And then when it goes into it more and they change into these different characters, into these different races and whatnot, the voices become very distinct after that. And it's so easy to pick up on who's talking. And then when you go back, you can hear a hint of that character voice in there originally. So it's really well done.
I'm gonna have to listen again now.
Yeah, go back to the beginning and listen to the first one again. And it was extremely well done where you're like, holy crap. You know, it's not one of those things like you think they're doing it a fly by night, but you're going like he had this kind of planned out. He had an idea of what he was wanting to do with these voices, where he was going for the majority, because they're in the game world majority of the first book. And he kind of brings it back. And it was just, it's just so amazing. But the thing that made me laugh was Burke showed me the series. I listened to it and went, holy crap, this is really good once I got into it and just blew through it. And Burke had like not a rough time at work, but a lot of things going on at work. And I remember I just barreled through all 3 books.
I think you passed me at one point. Yeah,
I did, because I know I finished the original saga. I don't know about the D6 portion, but the original saga, I just blew through all 3 of them in like 5 days. Like 5 days, I got through all books, or even less potentially. Just blew through all of it. And I was like, I'm done. And I so wanted to talk with you. No. You may finish me. You may finish before me. I'm sorry, because you kept telling me, "Oh yeah, it's another cliffhanger." Each book ends on a cliffhanger. You're like, "Shit!"
And then, because I think at that point I was like halfway through the second book. I was like, "Oh shit, I gotta play." so yeah, I think we finished them about the same time.
I think we finished about the same time, but at the D6 books is the ones I went way in front of you.
Yeah.
I listened to all of those. But it's just a crazy series, and it's so good what they do. In the middle of the second book, there's a time period where it kind of just glosses over and goes, and this happened for a few weeks, where they went through and tried to go and do different adventures to earn money, but hardly ever came back with anything, you know. And they're like saying it was like, you know, it basically felt like months of them doing this or something along those lines. And so the beautiful thing is he releases these books that are in between there. They're called the D6 books. They're originally released as individual stories. He sells them as individual stories for like $1 on the Kindle, but then he compiles all of them and sends them out as a D6 book. So it's like a series of like 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, something like that, short stories of what they were doing in between that time. And they're just great ways to build up on the characters themselves, and just another way of expressing the humor and how the whole group interacts. It's just lovely.
The D6 books are like the thing that made me fall. Like, I mean, I like the series, but the D6 books were where I was like, I've come home.
Because you read it in a different order than Craig and I did. Because we read 1, 2, 3, D6, 2D6, 3D6. So how did you read it?
So Craig says to me, hey, I was telling him that I needed something to listen to or needed a new podcast or something like that. And he says, oh, I got this thing for you to listen to. It's really good. And I think you mentioned it to me at one point originally. And I was like, yeah, I'll get to it at some point. And then I said, fine. I'm going to go ahead and download it. So I went to Audible and downloaded the first few books off there. I started listening to it, and the first like hour and a half in, I got to be honest with you, I was not sold at first. It started off like, okay, you know, there are these guys that get sucked into a game world, and I'm like, I've heard this story before. Like that part of it was not like, I was like, oh man, Sword Art Online or any of the other like, you know, series like that.
Yeah.
But then the characters, once they're in that game world, and once he starts getting a chance to develop them, you realize like, oh, they're all very unique with their own personalities. And at first, he purposely makes you hate the characters because they're supposed to be dicks. But then you learn to go like, yeah, but they're my dicks. And then you start to like, oh, I love these guys. And you're like, I hope they're dicks to everybody. Oh, they're dicks to everybody all the time. This is great. And it keeps going on and on. But the way I did it was that I listened to the first few because he had told me, he goes, okay, go to Audible, download the first like 3 books, and I did that. And by the time I finished the first one, he goes, there's more, you know, you got to get more. And I'm like, all right, cool. I want more. And so I downloaded the D6 books. So I listened to the first one, the first book, the second book, and then I went through all of D6. Then I went to the third book. And I actually think that helped me a little bit, because by the time that I got done with the D6 books and went to the third one, like so much had happened to where I'm like, God, I'm so endeared to these characters. And it felt like chronologically it made sense and whatever. And I don't know, like it's hard for me to explain it, but I would listen to them every single day on my drive into work, which is an hour and 20 each way. And so I was flying through the books, but like I got to the point where I was like, man, I need my fix. I just needed my fix. I needed to hear like what the next adventure was, what the next, situation they were going to be in, the next like whatever. And it was so good. And the voice acting is the best part for me, because I'm a big audiobook. I got to be straight with you. I don't ever read. So audiobooks are my way to go.
Read?
I don't ever.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't. I literally just do not read. But audiobooks, I devour them. And this was probably the fastest I've ever gone through any book or book series.
Yeah.
It was magic. But it's the voice acting, man.
It's so good.
Like that's why I was doing the Cooper thing earlier. It's like I spent hours in my car just mimicking the voices. I mean, to the point where like the only voice that I can't do, or I shouldn't say that can't do. I can't do any of them. I can do approximations of them, but the only one that I don't feel confident in is Tim. But aside from that, I can do all the other characters enough to where you know who I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm interested in how you read it, because I might go back through it again and listen to it that way, just because I listened to the D6 books quite a bit after I did the regular series. So I almost completely forgot there was actually a story to the first 3 books, So,
oh yeah.
Because I forgot about the female characters, and
like Catherine and all that. You mean?
Yeah, because the last thing I listened to was the D6
Catherine,
books,
Stacy,
and they're not in
Chaz.
Chaz.
You forget they're all in there.
Yeah.
When you're going through just D6, you kind of forget they're all in there.
Yeah,
Stacy, yay or nay? Quick, go.
Yay or nay on what? Like overall as a character?
Yeah, yay or nay.
All right, it's just going to be something different. It's going to be the character that is getting into it. That is like kind of not gung ho, but every other person that's new to it isn't gung ho. I mean, Julian's Julian. That like I don't consider like the core 4 there. The core 4 that are in the D6 books, like they're like Kat comes in, she gets thrown in book 1, really early, and she doesn't know what's going on. She's not like resistant, but she doesn't care. She doesn't want to be here. And she's like not willing to learn to a point. It feels like, it just feels like there's, she's fretted out about being there and whatnot. And eventually, obviously character arc, she comes around to being a little bit better with it. Chaz knows the game already, so he's into it to a point. Julian was already
hey guy, he's like Chaz, he's
the stupid fucking bard.
He's like, I'm a bard, I can't do anything. I'm like, Jesus, man.
And then Julian, he was the newer character, like newer person to the game, he already kind of went into it going, I'm gonna try playing this, and he's very curious and things like that.
Yeah, and innocent.
Yeah, curious and innocent.
The way he uses shit.
Horse.
But Stacy's just seems like she's a little bit different to where she wasn't wanting to get into this. She got thrown into it, but she seems very much determined to make the best of it. So it'll be an interesting thing to have somebody that's again new to the gaming mechanics, trying to learn that, but being a little bit more like approachable about it, if that makes sense.
No, it does.
Kat was like, what? This doesn't make fucking sense. This makes no sense. They're like, it's a game. Like, that's why. And then Julian, to a point, is kind of the same way, where he's thinking outside the box, but I don't put him in that category because he already chose to come and play CNC with him. So it'll be interesting to see how she does, like learning it and kind of applying her knowledge into different things. I feel like she's going to be a little bit of an overlap with Julian in terms of how they try and solve things.
See, I love her. I instantly like that character, the way he described her, and like I know that the voice like is just is once again the same guy, but he does that he does that like little southern accent for her, and it's that little bit it's like so like floaty. I don't know how else to put it, but it's that like really sold that like the oh hey darling. I'm like, oh my god, it's like I have this mental picture of what Stacy's like, and they did such a good job with that like introduction of that character. I'm like, man, I want to see her. I want to know what her story is about. Like, I'm really excited to see like what she's all about.
I don't know why, but for whatever reason with Stacy, in my mind, the first time, like, because I'm notoriously bad at picking up on descriptors of characters, like right off the bat, what they look like. If it sits there and goes, I mean, for the longest time, and I'm going to admit this, I mean, I went through and I read the Twilight series, like, I had to go back and rethink about the main character being brunette. For some reason in my head, she was like just this like, not like, oh God, blonde, like, you know, super blonde, whatever. It just was like a dull blonde in my head. Like, I don't know why that's what it was, but the character is specifically stated multiple times that she's brunette. My brain just goes, meh. I'm going to make my assumption on what she looks like based on her personality. Like, that's how it goes for me. So for whatever reason, Stacy looks like River Song from Doctor Who. Like that, like if you were to
That's nowhere
it
near.
isn't. It is
right?
nowhere near. And I go through and I re-listen to like the descriptor of the character, and my brain goes, meh, I'm good. I know what I'm wanting to do.
That's hilarious.
I have absolutely no idea why. Alex Kingston, there you go. I couldn't think of her name. Alex Kingston. For some reason, it's like along those lines. Like it's wrong, but it's along those lines.
No, there's no.
There's
way.
not. It makes no
No.
sense.
There's no
For
way.
some reason,
That is not.
my head just goes.
That's not what my mind saw.
Yeah, no, mine either. I like. I guess I hope I thought the right thing. Now
I guarantee you guys
I'm
did.
thinking of blonde. I'm thinking blonde, kind of shorter hair. I don't know.
No, she's brunette.
yeah, that's
See, I'm wrong too. So
Yeah, my
Yeah,
brain
I'll-
just makes up stupid shit for what people look like.
yeah. I guess this goes back to me being a pure audio guy. Like for me, like when I hear that stuff, I'm taking it all in, and I have like. It's so he does such a good job with the descriptors and the way they explain it, that like that scene where they first meet her in her office, like that whole scene with the scorpion and the horse and the aging spell and the whole nine, right? Like literally, I could see it. I don't know how else to describe it, but everything this guy writes, I can see. A lot of writers, when I read their books, I listen to them. It's just basically like, and then they went to Mordor. You know, I'm just making that up, although I love the Lord of the Rings. You know that. What I think he does best is the fact that he describes things. He describes them so unbelievably well that I really can mentally picture it. As I said, about that scene with the scorpion and the horse and in her office and everything. I mean, I literally could see every little detail of that office, and you know, the mini fridge and every little thing that, you know, the Dr. Pepper, the whole nine. Like it was. I don't know. I'm just enamored by this guy's writing style and the voice acting, you know, done by Sleep there, because every character I can distinctly tell who they are, and that's not something I can say is done by most voice actors.
Yeah, and for me, again, the problem with me is, I mean, I can literally see whenever I go through pretty much any book. Obviously, it becomes a visual movie, like a, you know, what do you call it?
Yeah.
Like a theater, imagination theater, whatever you want to call it, theater of imagination, theater in your mind, whatever you want to call it. Every single book, even if it's a really boring book, it all comes together and pieces together like that. But I just don't know why when it describes people, I completely just go, no, I'm going to make my own creation. My brain just goes, I'm just going to make my own creation based on personality.
Describe Cooper.
I literally, I only have the half orc in me. I don't know what he looks like outside of that.
Okay, physically, that half orc, like, say what, like, what does his body look like?
It's in my head. It's obviously what he's like 7 footish tall, rough like that. So he's a taller guy, broodier, but he's got a lot of weight to him. That's not muscle, like not a ton, but you can definitely. It's more of there's a lot of fat on there as well. I would say to potentially even have a sort of a gut in there. I don't know what else you're wanting me to really go into.
I
how to describe
was
him.
just kind of curious as to.
I actually don't imagine the gut at all.
You imagine him to have abs?
Yeah, like kind of like a bodybuilder where the abs like go out really far. Like it's
Like more kind of looks sort of like a pot belly. You're saying, but
like
not,
it's a pot belly with abs. It's not, but it's not
Yeah.
like a real big pot belly.
See, what always gets me is whenever he rages, it goes from man tits to like bursting pectorals, and I feel like that is a telling thing of there's a little bit of fat on him. Like,
Yeah, see, I just imagine him. He
like,
just
when he goes like his man tits and inflated into like blazing pectorals, or however he says it. To me, like that's such a transformation of the pectorals becoming so big and muscly. Not to say that there's not the muscle there, but it feels like there's a layer on top of it. You know what I mean? Like that's how I always imagined it.
See,
So
I just see him going from kind of like a guy who's strong to like a bodybuilder. Kind of. That's
I mean, that
what I
makes
saw.
sense too, based on his like strength scores. But
yeah.
And it's interesting hearing hearing this.
Yeah, well, I mean, the hardest one for me to mentally image it was is Tim, because no, because like in my head he looks like a hobbit dressed as Peter Pan. Like that's the only way I can describe it. Like,
No,
I'm sorry,
basically-
Peter Pan wearing a vest.
Like for me, it always looks like because he's got that he's got something else on him as well. He's got like some kind of cloak a little bit. I think they describe at one point.
But he has a
So to me-
tunic.
Yeah, but he picks up a cloak at some point, doesn't he?
No, I don't
could be
remember.
Again, I could be completely wrong. I thought he picked up something like that, but in my head, literally think of what Frodo looks like walking around. Like that's the clothes he has, but it's a different face. I don't know how to describe the face.
Yeah, that's mine.
But like that's literally
like
what it
mine.
looks like down to the color palette.
See,
Yeah.
Dave looks like Torbjorn in my head.
I see more,
But with different
more
armor.
Gimli. I see more Gimli.
I see more Gimli as well. Yeah.
I've got like Torbjorn, like the way he moves and stuff. I just go off of Torbjorn, but he's got a different armor set on. Like, I can't
right,
describe the armor set, but
What about Julian?
Xander from Drawn Together, whatever that show was.
Yes.
That's what he looks like to me. That's what I envision in my head as a Xander type character.
See, I picture him as like that wispy tall elf. They're like that tall elf with the pointed ears and stuff, but like dressed like a Mexican bandit.
Yeah.
I kind of see the Elrond elegance, but with just like the goofy side of not the elegance of dear Lord, I can't even talk anymore. Not the Elrond elegance, like the facial features and the dark hair, but just like weird dress, like acts like a freaking moron.
I think he is blonde though, isn't he?
I don't imagine. I don't see
have
him
no
blonde
idea.
though. I don't see him blonde.
I
Gotcha.
have no idea.
Well,
You're asking the wrong person.
okay,
You're
guys,
asking me. I have
hold on. We all are thinking it. Let's just say it. What is Chaz like?
Like it looked to me when he walked into the chicken hut, he looked like Wayne. Our buddy Wayne.
Yeah, a bald Wayne.
That's
A
what he-
bald Wayne.
Yeah, bald Wayne
bald
walking in
Wayne.
there, and then I'm thinking like classic bard clothes on like a skinny version of Wayne, like Wayne from high school.
I'm actually picturing like clown attire, basically. Like bard clown attire, and in like the big like fluffy hat with a feather.
I actually imagined like a Val Kilmer from Top Gun beach scene as Jazz.
Nice. Oh my god! It's funny though because like you get this mental image and from the writing and as well as the voice acting because the voices like okay, good example of this when I do the Cooper voice thing when I'm joking around about it like the trick to it is that you have to like stick your bottom jaw out as if you were a half orc. That's how you like if your bottom jaw is not sticky, you can't get the right tone. And I'm picturing like I would love to see a video of how they record it in the studio. Like I want to see him do the different faces and the voices, you know what I mean, at the same time. I bet you that he does it.
Potentially, I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I
okay. Like it's like when you do the Cooper voice, as I said, just try sticking your bottom jaw out and just kind of doing a gravelly voice.
Not that I just tried it muted and it did not work for me. It like I couldn't articulate words.
Drew Brees.
I'm trying to. I got a treat. Like I can't.
Fuck you, Dave.
It sounds like an orc though.
Bert, yeah, it sounds like an orc, but it doesn't sound articulate like how
Well,
you
but
hear.
orcs aren't supposed to be articulate
no.
though.
But you can fucking hear it in the audio book. That's what we're talking about. How Jonathan Sleep actually talks in this. That's what we're going for. We're not going for the realism. We're going for how he
How
does
Craig
it.
reacts when Bert burns him. Oh my god! But like okay, when you do the voices there, then you think about Dave, right? And his is also kind of gravelly, but it's a different type. It's like talking from the very back of your throat. It's like a totally different way to speak. And I would love to watch a video on this because I'm fascinated by the voice acting.
See, to me, the Dave one that's back of the throat talking. The Drew Brees one for me is like back of the throat, but you're pushing it up to the top of your tongue on the roof of your mouth. Like that's how the travel sounds for me when I'm trying to do it.
All right, give us your best Dave voice then.
Like, and Dave's down here and he's trying to talk like this and he's going through this way. But then when you go to Cooper, like I'm bringing my tongue up a bit. So I'm right here. I'm like, if we're doing the classic thing, like, oh, fuck you, Dave. Like I don't know.
That was
like
actually
I'm
pretty
pushing,
close.
I'm like,
good.
I'm pushing the tongue up more to the top of I'm doing the same place as Dave, but then I'm like forcing it upward into the top of my mouth.
Yeah, and
I don't know. It's so hard to describe.
No,
how
that
I
makes
did
sense
this.
because Dave talks like Dave. You know, he's like, come on, guys, what are we doing? You know, he's kind of got that weird like raspiness to it a little bit. But I don't know. It's fascinating. And then I mean, Julian is really just like his and Stacy's are the two wispiest voices. His a little bit more than hers. Like as long as you do an upward trail on the end of the sentence, you can be Julian. That's the part that gets me about it. Is like he's just like, well, I'm not sure. That's interesting. Ravenous, come here. And he's got that like high pitched like little like wispy thing. I don't know. I don't know. This just the mental thought of the guy standing in the booth flapping his arms going, master, like just like really cracks me up.
I'm not gonna try any voices. It's just not
happening.
So what I was thinking about doing is potentially, if there's something going on for whatever reason, I end up doing something for a Halloween. I'm almost positive my next Halloween thing would end up being Mordred.
Oh my God.
Going as that.
Oh my God.
I think that would be fucking hilarious.
The picture that Robert Bevan has as his profile picture.
Yeah, basically I'd be kind of trying to do something along those lines.
Oh my God. Oh, Craig, I'm sorry, but okay, just here, stay with me on this. If you get the Drew Brees shirt, Cooper, like think about it. You show up as an orc wearing a Drew Brees jersey. Nobody would know what the fuck you were. Like what?
No, they would not.
What are you? It's like I'm Drew Brees. Fuck you.
Oh my God.
I mean, that would be amazing.
I want to get together for Halloween and do this now.
Can I
do a group cosplay going into a con and CNC characters? Oh my God.
Holy shit. Can we please
it'd
do
be one
it?
of those things. It'd be one of those things where like the few people that did get it would be like, holy shit, that's fucking awesome.
Wait, who's our fourth though? Because we need a fourth. I mean, okay, wait. Let's divide it.
We don't know any midgets.
Let's divide it.
Sorry.
Let's be honest. Who else knows the series that we know of? Nobody.
That's true, but we're gonna fix that by this podcast and word of mouth. We're spreading the word.
True. We're spreading the word.
we're gonna meet Robert Bevan. Damn it.
That would be awesome.
God. It's like if I meet him, like, hi, I like your stuff. And he's like, cool. Well, see you later. The only thing we'd have to talk about is his work, and he's probably like, dude, don't talk to me about my work. I already do it.
He's really good on social media. I've gone through. I just did one thing on Facebook, and I don't get on Facebook very often anymore. But I looked him up on there to see kind of what the page was like. I was actually just trying to see when they were recording the next Critical Failures 4. I don't even know what the title is off the top of my head, but the fourth book, I was looking when they're going to come out for the audiobook because the book's out, and that book's out. He's writing book 5 right now, if I remember right, and he's written, like I said, he releases the D6 books as like individual little stories for like $1 on Kindle, and then he makes like a full D6 out of them, so he'll write 5 or 6 of these stories, and that will become 4D6. So it's one of those things where I was looking into it and just saw that he was in the studio like 2 days ago with Jonathan Sleep recording the final 2 chapters of Critical Failures 4. And so I just typed underneath it, just commented. I was like, I am so fucking excited.
That's awesome.
And like, I'm talking within 30 seconds, he liked it. And then I ended up writing something because his birthday was on the 17th of January. And so I wrote something on his page like, hey, I just wanted to let you know I've really enjoyed your series. Like, it's really helped me out at work. I can't always read it. So you doing audiobooks was amazing. Absolutely love your work. I really enjoy the series. Happy birthday. Have a great day, whatever it is. And it was like, 15 minutes later, he kind of like wrote back like, hey, I really appreciate coming on here, whatever it is. And it wasn't something where he like went into an in-depth conversation, but he's he's got the time to go through and respond to fans. So I think that's really cool.
Honestly, that man's writing is so good that like I don't care what his process is. If it's talk to fans, whatever that means. If he needs a beer, I'll buy him a beer. Like whatever he needs, just make more books. Just keep pumping them out, man.
Well, and that's what I asked him. I go, hey, I really like the audiobook section. Do you sell them like on your own? And does that give you more money, or does that help you out better if you buy them on your own or whatever? Like how is the best way to get these? Like I don't give a shit if it's like, do you have a Patreon? Like I will fucking give you money every single month because I love your shit so much. And he just responded, he was like, oh no, you can do Audible works just fine. That's the best way for things right now. So I was like, cool, we'll keep doing Audible then.
Dude, that's awesome. Oh my God. But you know what we're gonna do is we're gonna get Mike to listen to the series, and
that'd be great. Is he an audiobook guy?
Do you think he would?
Actually, yeah, he listens to a lot of podcasts, and yeah, he has a lot of time to listen. So
podcasts and audiobooks are two different things, though. That's the only thing.
Okay, let's put it this way: he played a lot of D&D with us. I think he'll be interested in at least giving it a shot.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, we can trick him into listening to book 1, and then after that, we'll leave it up to Robert Batman to set the hook. Yeah, and
just every week on the podcast, we slip in one chapter.
Oh my God, yes. So at that point, we would have to. We'll have to rethink it because he'll be our 4th guy for our Halloween contest. So,
well, if Craig's Mordred.
Oh, that's right, Craig. You were going to be Mordred, Drew Brees.
That way, we wouldn't have to find a Hobbit.
I don't think I'd really fit in because he's a rogue. He's hiding all the time. You can't see him.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, hey, touche. So that means you could do Mordred. Mike could do Drew Brees, and it's a Burke. You said you wanted Dave.
I don't know if I want to go as a dwarf or Julian. You don't know Spanish. I'll go as Julian.
Oh, you son of a
horse. Look at my voice. I'm about to listen to the books 3 more times. Yes.
There you go. You know what? I'll go as Ravenous. I'll sit just behind you, like, just calling out. It's like, oh, master! Would be great.
I want to see Mike get pissed at that.
Yeah. Fuck you, bird.
Show your fucking bird up.
Oh my God. All right, we've gone on long enough about the amazing book series that you all should already have owned if you've listened to this far.
If you go to Caverns Dear Lord, Caverns and Creatures.
If you Google Caverns and Creatures,
yeah, fuck, I can't.
I think it's the first thing. If you type in Caverns and Creatures on Google and hit enter,
and they actually have 3 sample chapters under the audio heading. So
pick it up there,
listen to it, laugh, don't be offended.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's
yeah, don't be offended.
Yeah. It. Oh no, they have paperback. I'm sorry, I lied.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was looking at it, but they do have it like Kindle. It's in the Kindle Unlimited. So if you're a subscriber to Kindle Unlimited, you can automatically just check those out for free. But it's $10 for a paperback of the book. But I'm pretty sure the Kindle versions are pretty cheap, if I remember right. They were only like $1 or something like that. It's just Kindle Unlimited, I guess. 99 cents to buy, I guess. I don't know. They're cheap. And they're extremely worth it. Like it's ridiculously worth it.
Worth it.
There'll be nothing else better in your day than to go through and read or listen to those.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining us for this edition of And One. It's our little our own version of D6.
And Mordred just got dunked on.
Stay in school. Drew Brees out.